you know, from the bottom, and now she's here. And we want to keep her there. She can serve for as long as she feel like it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And if she want to do something else, we'll support her on that too. She swear that's her last office though, but we'll see. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce the mayor of Los Angeles. I'm proud to introduce Mayor Karen Bass.
Thank you. Well, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for coming out tonight to this beautiful home. Thank you so much, Jimmy, for welcoming us. Really appreciate it, and Lindsay and everyone else on the host committee. And Anthony, I'm proud of how far we go back, because to me there is nothing more important than relationships and friendships and maintaining those relationships and friendships through thick and thin. And all of us have been through it, but that's when you know who your friends are, when you're there with somebody when they're going through struggles. And so I just want to thank you all for being out here this evening. It really means a lot to me. It does. And people often come up to me and tell me that they're praying for me and they support me. And it's hard to express how much that means to you, because, this is a tough job. It's a different job. You learn that you're responsible for everything. I mean, the weather and rain. If something happens in Pasadena or Santa Monica, but it's November, but hasn't this year felt like 3 years?
Yes.
I know. And we were joking earlier. I mean, all that we've been through. I don't remember what month it was. It might have been July or August when we had a tsunami warning. And I was like,
Yes.
why not? But on the serious side, yeah, right. Yeah, well, that's right. That's what we need is an election tsunami.
Yes.
But seriously, this year started off very, very painful. And it continues to be. And I think of all of those people who were impacted by the fires are now moving into holiday season without being able to go back home. And then, the people, number one, of course, that lost their lives, but who lost their homes. And even though the rebuilding process in the Palisades, which I always have to qualify, that's the only area I represent, because some people say, why is she only talking about the Palisades? People don't realize that Altadena is not in the city of Los Angeles. Neither is Malibu. But, things are going really, really fast. But still, you're still not home. So for me to talk about how fast things are going, that doesn't really, But one of the most difficult things about the fires, really, social media is so brutal, because people who have very consciously put out misinformation and who are essentially preying on the grief of people. Just so you know the facts, we have issued more than 1,100 permits, where you will hear people say no permits have been issued. Those 1,100 permits are for about 500 homes, because a home can have multiple permits. And we have over 300 homes in the Palisades that are currently under construction. You can see them going up.
Outstanding.
And so for some people, they will be back at some point next year. And so I'm glad about that, and committed to that, and committed to doing things as fast as will be safe and as humanly possible. But if you think about what happened to us in the city, I was doing something controversial at the beginning of the year, because I was complimenting the Trump administration. Because the reason why we were able to move so fast is because they poured resources on us. It was a historic number of Army Corps of Engineers that were deployed to our area, which is how we were able to clear out the lots so fast. So I don't know why I thought, well, maybe he's going to leave us alone because he must know some people in the Palisades. He must. Maybe his donors or something going on, right? And then we wake up and get punched in the face and have our own federal government attack us in ways that was just, and it continues to be, because the raids continue every day. It's just not to the intensity that it was, but how awful that was. to see them literally hunt people based on what they look like, the language that they heard, or where they worked. And that just, was a tragedy in and of itself. And I'll think about those families during the holidays because a number of those families have missing relatives. And having a missing relative for a lot of family also means a missing paycheck. And all you need is one paycheck down in a household to become completely unstable. And what a thing to do to the population. But I was so proud of LA, all in Long Beach, all of our area, this whole year because we stood together. We stood together, we supported each other through the fires, through all of that. And then when the raids happened, he could have divided. And I'm sure in some cities, they turn on each other. Our city did not do that. Our city stood strong with each other, understood and empathized for people that were going through all of that. And so I feel like we have been tested this year.
Yes.
And so I'm ready for a good year next year.
Yes.
Because we're going to start off the year. That's right. We need a round of applause.
That's right.
For that. Because we start off the year in February with the All-Star basketball game. Then we go to May, and it's the U.S. Open for golf for women. And then we are in June, and it's the World Cup. 8 games will be played here, but the World Cup lasts 40 days. And so we're going to have 40 days of festivals and watch parties all through the city.
We want ticket for that.
That's right. They actually went on sale. And then 2027, we have the Super Bowl. Then we get around to the Olympics and the Paralympics.
Yes, 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 yes.
And so, what'd you say?
You're going to be busy.
I'm going to be very busy. But thank you. But what a joyous time after such, a tough year. But my partner here in Long Beach, Mayor Richardson, I know he's not here today because he's saying, oh, he is. Oh, okay, good, because he told me he had a council meeting. But, what he's brought to Long Beach, I think is fantastic.
Yeah.
And it's going to be such an uplift to Long Beach. And I'm very excited and supportive of what's going on here.
And the Greek hospitality house.
Yes, exactly. The Greek hospitality house will be here. And then up the road a bit will be the Croatian hospitality house.
All right,
and we're
represent.
talking about a water taxi that would make the neighborhoods. And for those of us that were here in 1984, we have a big shoe to fill with Mayor Bradley because 41 years ago, his legacy lives on today because that Olympics was the very first Olympics that ever turned a profit. And we are still benefiting from that today with LA 84 because it pays for youth sports. So our theme in Los Angeles for the Olympics is the Games for All, which means we want the games to benefit every neighborhood, not just the tourist sites that people go to, but we want folks to go to Watts and we want people to go to East LA and
Paramount.
Pico Union area, yeah. But what we said to the local cities around is that there's so many opportunities. For example, the idea of the hospitality houses. They did that in Paris. It was wonderful because when I was in Paris, I think I went to Mongolia, I went to Italy, I went to South Africa. And what happens is the countries, either they rent a property or they put up a tent, but you walk in it and you're in that country. And so we're going to have over 200 countries here. And so that's over 200 opportunities for people to host a house in their area. In Culver City, I mean, they've taken it so far that they're doing like bus tours, but they have New Zealand House and they have Japan House. Mexico will be at Olvera Street. So my point is that all of these events are an opportunity to lift up our area and for people to benefit economically. Small businesses to benefit. So we've put on summits 2 years in a row. We had 1,000 small businesses at each summit because what we're doing is working with the businesses so they'll be prepared when the contracts come in. Because usually by the time we hear about it, the RFP closed 2 days before. And but we're preparing people 2 years before, so that when the contracts come out, they'll be first to hear and they'll be able to apply. And so, we have our election next year. June 2nd is the primary. There is two candidates. Actually, there's like about 4 or 5 people who are in the race, but
For mayor?
yes, for
I didn't
mayor.
even know anybody wanted to run against you.
Yeah.
Oh,
there
you
it
only
is.
know one. Only one
Yeah. But the candidate that is formidable, because the measure of strength is money, right? Is Austin Butner, who is a multi millionaire. And then there is Caruso, who hasn't decided what he's going to do. He's a multi-billionaire. And then there is a woman who entered, who I think is going to try to emulate Mandani in New York in terms of running, a campaign like that. But to me, with all that is happening in our area, I just don't believe it's the time for the super wealthy to come and to govern the city. But I take absolutely nothing for granted. I'm going to run a type of campaign I ran before, which was a grassroots campaign. I was just notified today I got the official endorsement from the Los Angeles County Federation of Labor. Working on getting endorsements from Democratic clubs. But as Anthony said, Caruso he actually made U.S. history because it was the most expensive mayor's race ever. $110 million of his own money. I put in, by the way, I raised 9 and had 6 independent expenditures. So it was 110 versus 15 million, and we beat him by 90,000 votes.
Excellent.
Well, I think that you can't just make up a person because he had been a Republican most of his life, and very conservative, and then he re-registered as a Democrat a month before he filed to run, and used money to try to create an image that didn't sell, and hopefully, we don't know what he's doing. He might run for governor, he might run for nothing, but I'm preparing as though he's going to run again.
Can I throw you a softball?
Sure.
Because it
You
feels
can throw me a
appropriate.
hardball.
That's right.
This feels like a very appropriate one. You are running a city. You're essentially one of those 10 powerful people in the world. This is one of the 10 most powerful economies in the world in the state of California. It's driven by Los Angeles, right?
That's true.
And a lot of people like to talk about how hard it is to do anything in Los Angeles. It's hard to do business, hard to build homes, hard to do all these things. That's not really the case. And I want to give you the chance to talk about the successes, because at the end of the day, you've come in, you've addressed the problems, many of us. I mean, I've been operating in the city for decades, and you've helped solve a lot of the, well, here's the man. Rex will tell you, just tell me to stop asking the question. But you've solved a lot of the problems that have been addressed, and we have one of the biggest manufacturing centers in the world, right here in LA, and people don't realize that. Rex reminds me of it all the time. But talk about what the rest of it looks like for you, because with the Olympics coming, you have opportunity, but you've achieved a lot, and people don't give you credit for it, because you're focused on the hard things.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yes, one of the biggest motivations for me to run was the fact that we had 46,000 people on our street, and that tonight 3 or 4 of them will not wake up in the morning. African Americans make up 9% of the population in Los Angeles. We're over 30% of the people who are homeless. Latinos are close to 50% of the population, 40% homeless. That's 74%. And so what we've been able to do for 2 years in a row is reduce street homelessness by 17%.
Yeah, outstanding.
And, I came in with the goal of reducing street homelessness, but also building affordable housing. And so I did an executive directive that now has led to about 30,000 units in process. And then I'm working with Mayor Richardson over here, who, by the way, is just an amazing young man. Absolutely. He knows his stuff. I look up to him. We sit on a couple of boards together for building housing that he chairs, and playing a leadership role in the U.S. Conference of Mayors. And so we're working together on getting housing built because we can't look at it as just Los Angeles City. It's our region.
Yes.
And people will move from one place to another, and we want them to be housed. Crime is at a 40-year low. Gang homicides are down. I started an Office of Community Safety that focuses on crime prevention, while at the same time we're trying to expand our police department. But we've had major successes, but I always qualify crime statistics. I don't know if you do this too, but I always qualify crime statistics because for me, it's kind of like housing being built in the Palisades. If you're out of your house, or you've been a victim to crime, and then I say how crime has gone down, it's like, well, not on my block because
Exactly.
2 cars just got broken into. But so there's a huge subjective factor. I do think it's important to know what the data shows, but it's also important to recognize that people have been injured and hurt. And then crime is, a central feature. And so I do feel good about what we have accomplished. So much to do in the city. And I know our city, and I would imagine Long Beach, still there's a part of our cities that still are coming out of COVID and are still impacted by COVID. And I've told him when I've been down here just visiting that Long Beach just looks so good, is in such great shape. So we have to emulate Long Beach when it comes to downtown Los Angeles and some of our areas.
Rex is a superstar.
Yes, he is a superstar. He absolutely is.
Wouldn't be here
Yeah.
without us, my friend.
Thank you all. Thank you all. If anybody has any questions, that's fine. But would you like to say a few words?
Sure. Well, forgive me. The city council meeting is still going. We got through the majority of the work. It's okay. It's okay. I have a pretty good attendance record on city council meetings. See, the mayor doesn't chair her meetings, right? She doesn't have to do that. I chair meetings in Long Beach. But it was incredibly important to make sure that I'm here, and thank you, Jimmy and Lindsay and Weston, everybody who put this together. It's incredibly important that we support Mayor Bass. This for a number of reasons. One, our communities are linked in so many ways. Goods movement, ports, transportation, housing. And it's a real unique and rare opportunity when you have 2 leaders elected aligned in values between the 2 largest cities in our region. The opportunity that we have to think transformatively, it's been a long night, transformatively about how we can deliver services better, how we can break generational curses, how we can really give our communities the best shot to really come out of the pandemic and a 20-year housing crisis and homelessness that was at all-time highs, to come out of that and really give hope to a community. This is our best shot, is by working together and collaborating. People tend to forget, we haven't been in office 3 years yet. It'll be 3 years in December. It hasn't even been 3 years yet. And people don't recognize what we came through, right? What the mayor has come through in Los Angeles, what we walked into, right? What we inherited in terms of, I think we had 62% increases in homelessness the year before I was mayor. Walked into budget deficits, walked into a downtowns that have changed and will never be the same. And we have to walk in, fix all that, and move our cities forward in 4 years, right? And the work that we've been able to do, reductions in homelessness in Los Angeles, first reduction in nearly a decade in Long Beach, come together and move a countywide measure where people decided again that we're not giving up on homelessness, invest in creating an entirely new agency that brings all 88 jurisdictions plus the county 89 together to say, we're going to accelerate 20,000 units of housing in our county. We're going to prevent 20,000 people from losing their homes. And get all that done in under 3 years is pretty remarkable. But we're just getting started. There's so much more that we need to do.
I love it.
So when the mayor stepped up to run the first time, Long Beach came together. We hosted a number of events and we supported her. And I'm proud to see that you all stepped forward. We're going to continue to do more because we need Mayor Bass in Los Angeles. and we're here to support you. I'm on the ballot at the same time, right? So we got to make sure we have that we continue both of our communities moving forward. So thanks a lot. Let's hear it from Mayor Bass one more time for your incredible leadership.
Thank you.
I have one question. I have a question. Have you considered like barracks and with bunker beds and all that, so that instead of making houses, so that a lot of people can be
Yeah, so,
accommodated there?
and let me just say something about that, because unfortunately, in the city of Los Angeles years ago, they made a decision not to invest in interim housing. And if you compare Los Angeles City to New York, no, New York has 80,000 homeless people. 97% of them are in shelters, are in interim housing. We chose, because of, in my opinion, rigid ideology that said shelters are no good, the only thing that's good is permanent housing, and that it was okay, de facto, that you be on the street. And what my belief is that anybody that adheres to that kind of thinking sleeps in beds. Because how could you say to somebody, stay on the street until we build you something? So what has happened over the years, though, is that there's new and improved models of shelters. Not like the cots, in a big warehouse, but where you have a modicum of privacy. And that's what we need to do. And the direction that I'm headed in is using city-owned land to do that. Because I'm going to tell you something. If we don't do this, what I believe will happen is that I believe they'll send the National Guard with some buses and set up an alligator Alcatraz facility on federal land outside of the city and be done with it. I do believe he will do that. And I know the president of France did that. President of France was in dispute with the mayor. And what he did was he loaded up all the homeless folks, who, by the way, happened to be African, most of them, and just bust them to the interior of France and kind of, dump them there. But yeah, and that's the other thing is that, you're trying to go about your work and you hear the president call you out. And and he said just some crazy stuff. It's one thing to exaggerate or embellish, but he just like makes stuff up. The last time he talked about me personally, he said he said that I was disrupting the water. That's why there were the fires. Because, but he said I was holding up the water in the Pacific Northwest. And I don't think he realizes that's Washington and Oregon. So I'm responsible for that. But when you do have the president and all the federal investigations that they put on us, charging us with all sorts of things. They said I helped the rioters, and so I guess I was supplying the spray paint for the graffiti. You're dealing with that kind of craziness on top of just trying to run a city. It is challenging, but I keep my humor because you have to laugh. Because some of this stuff is just so crazy. You either laugh or you cry. And I'm not gonna cry. You ain't gonna make me cry.
Say that.
You ain't gonna make me cry.
Thank you for confirming that. He's crazy.
Yes.
Just a comment. I'm with you since 21. We hosted a fundraiser for you in city of Artesia in 2022.
That's right.
And you were so at that point the difference of money of raised was more than 102 million. So at that time your the way you deal with people, your leadership inspires all of us. That was the reason. Even now, it's just a comment for both of you. As you entered the city, as you mentioned with President Biden, the way you dealt with all that permitting and what was thrown upon you and how you handled it, that tells you about your leadership qualities, how you keep all the communities together, especially the communities of color, especially Mayor, you also in the city of Long Beach, and you both together. I've seen you at the first event. You both were there, and even I was there. So really, I want to commend all your leadership, both of you, the way you are keeping the communities of color, uplifting them always.
Yes,
So,
yes.
in this kind of atmosphere where there is fear and there is everything. So
Thank you.
We are also community of color. Same.
Yes. Oh, sure.
One last thing I want to add. Sorry,
Go ahead, go ahead. No, go ahead.
One last thing I want to add is Sydney Kamlagar. I worked with her as the chair of South and Central Asia. She sends hello to you. She mentioned she called me to say hello to you and also to the mayor.
Great, good,
Good.
dear friend.
Thank you.
Big supporter, thank you for all you do. I have a question for both of you guys. And I mentor 4 college graduates. And I asked them to give me a question to ask you. And the question is, we graduated from college. We cannot afford to live in Los Angeles or Long Beach. Do we need to move to Las Vegas?
Wow.
Yeah. Well,
That's the other extreme.
what
Yeah, there it is.
ideas, what hope do we have to be able to afford to live in the city that we were born in?
Yeah, no, tell them to stay in Los Angeles because housing is being built. As Mayor Richardson talked about, and I'll give it to him to expand on it, but this is such a big problem that has been underway for literally a couple of decades. And so putting the structures, the funding, and everything in place, but the units are online. It takes a while for them to be built, but we're doing everything we can to eliminate every form of red tape that we can find, so that because that drives up the cost too. Red tape delays it, and then the price goes up. But we are working very, very hard on that, exactly so what you said doesn't happen.
Amen.
Robin, I'm gonna invite you to my next fundraiser, so you can ask me this question and pay for it. No, I'm joking. Mayor Bass is right. Affordability is probably the number one issue that's impacting families right now. If you think about the best way for you to have some longevity in your community is to be able to own a piece of property, own a home. And it seems like home ownership seems so unattainable. People don't even try anymore. We have to make it simple, easy, understandable, and attainable for people to own a home. The biggest barrier is the down payment. That's the biggest barrier. And so I remember when I first bought my home in Long Beach, I was 25. The bubble had just burst. And so I got a 3-bedroom, 2-bath in North Long Beach for $275,000, right? This wasn't that long ago. This was 2009, right? Now here we are, that very property is 3 times the cost. So take that down payment and triple it. But back then, we had President Obama's first time home buyer tax credit, $8,000. It literally covered the entire down payment. I picked up the closing costs, right? So if you take that and you triple it, you're talking $25,000 on a down payment. If you're doing an FHA property and 3.5% down, you might be paying a high payment, but that's the biggest barrier, right? You can rent out rooms, you can do ADUs and all those things, but that's the biggest barrier. So we brought back down payment assistance in the city of Long Beach. $25,000 grant, not a soft second, not a shallow subsidy, $25,000 grants. We made it easy for people to qualify. And now you have people able to get past that barrier. And then there's the challenge of how do you afford this big mortgage, right? We made it easy to build accessory dwelling units as rental units in our city. We're the ADU per capita leader in California. We've approved, we have by right approvals. LA has it also. By right approvals. You can build it, you can factor in your financing. And if you rent it to someone on our housing choice voucher or Section 8 list, or somebody who meets affordability standards, the city will actually pay you and give you 0 interest financing to build that ADU.
Wow.
That's called free money. You walk in the door, home ownership and landlord at the same time. That's how we have to think about creating opportunities for the next generation. We have to create opportunities for people to build wealth. That plus, you can't address homelessness, you can't address affordability unless you build more housing that's simply affordable for the people who live in your city to live in. So you have to continue to invest in affordable housing.
Is that
Mayor Bass is a great leader. I love working with her on the LA County Affordable Housing Solutions Agency. We couldn't get anything done without our partnership. So we are locked at the hip on housing production. We're going to keep building housing in our communities, and this is the way forward.
is that first time or any time?
think she's good. I think she has a lot of questions.
Yes. So, what are some of those
Okay,
Let's thank
let
the
me
mayor
just,
for-
yeah,
Exactly. Let's
again,
have a good
thank
time.
Jimmy for hosting and the host committee. Thank you so much. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor Bass.
Thank you, everyone. I want to give one person an opportunity to say a quick word.
Yeah, put him on the spot.
You know something? You know, I don't talk a lot. I'm gonna let take this picture.
Robbie, why you not up there?
I just want to thank everybody who came out tonight to support the mayor of Los Angeles. It's my honor to know her for a very long time. In fact, I remember when God, how long was that? When we did the thing up there, you still got that little.
I do, yeah. It was like almost 16, 17 years.
We had some good times. But the thing is that I'm so proud to be able to know a person who loves the city. And I've been here 75 years, so I know what it's like. And we have seen the evolution. And these last 3 years, and probably the next 5, we're going to see
That's right.
a big change in Southern California and Los Angeles. I'd like to thank everybody who came, who support and continue to support the mayor of Los Angeles. Thank you for coming.
We are from the Sikh community and we are representing as a support group for Karen Bass, and we have been supporting Rex Anderson before. And Bahadur Singh is there, Ram Singh is there, Sikh Dharma, Niranjan Singh is there, and Baljinder Singh, and also the DMC financial chairman of the company, of the committee, Avinder Singh Chal. Thank you very much.
Hey, the band, you guys want to play?
Yeah, we'll play some more.
Play some music.
Come on.
Let's get this party started. All right.